Parshas Vayishlach, Bez Shem Yisburach, continuing from Shiny. Vayulan Sham Balaylo, after he davened to Hashem, he rested, and then he prepared a present for Esav. And it says Lusha Men Abu B'Yudoi, which typically means what was available to him. Rashi says Men Abu B'Yudoi means that he also took diamonds and things that you could carry in your hand to send as a present to Esav. The Torah reckons out a long arichas of the animals that he sent, and we learn interesting things from these animals. It says 200 goats, 200 she-goats, and 20 male goats, 200 female sheep, and 20 rams, male sheep, and so forth. There's a whole list of animals over here. Chazal learned from this, very interesting, the mitzvah of oina, that a person has a mitzvah of oina, how often he needs to be with his wife. How do you see that? Because different animals had, by the cows, it says there were 40 cows and 10 bulls. So you have 4 cows for each bull, whereas by the sheep, there were 200 sheep, 200 females, and 20 rams. That equals out to 10 females per male. And the reason is because since the animals, the cows, bulls, oxen, work. They're working animals. They plow the field and they work. So since they work, so the bull only has time for 4 cows, whereas the sheep that don't work, they have time for 10 cows. So Chazal learned from this that as a person, if a person is more available, but works less, then he has to give his wife more time. I actually know that today the bulls don't work because oxen don't pull plows anymore. And one bull can impregnate 40 cows today. It's about the ratio that you use 30 to 40 cows in today's fields. Al Kapunim, he made Eide Levada. He sent groups and groups of these presents, and they all came towards Esav. It's interesting, the Balatirim points out that the exact number of animals that was here was 580 animals. 580 is the exact gematria of Su'ir. Su'ir is Siyin Ayin Yid Reish, is 580, and that's the Esav was Atzusayir. He was Ish Su'ir. And what do we do on Yom Kippur? Su'ir la'azuzel. So Yaakov sent so many animals in order to be mevatel the koyach of Esav, of this 580 animals. So he sent them all these presents, and he gave them instructions. When you meet Esav, you should tell him, this is all from Yaakov, and it's all yours. Because you're Adoni Esav. Yaakov is like an Avid. He's nothing. Whatever he has is yours. You could take whatever you want. And all of this was to make him feel better, to placate him. And there are Mamura Chazal that have a little bit of a tana on Yaakov, that he actually went down this whole path. But the Ramban says it's Masav Asim Labunim. It's going to be like that all the years. This is how we're going to have to act with the Goyim until Bizoich to Regil Shleim. We won't have to do it any further. Al Kapunim, tell him, I know that you're upset with me, and I want to maybe you'll agree to be nice to me. All of a sudden, the Torah tells a very interesting story. Yaakov got up in the middle of the night. He got up in the middle of the night. He took his 2 wives, and the other 2 wives, another Zruch and Olaya, and then Bilhah and Zilpah, and all 11 children, and he crossed over the Yaboik canal. I thought he had 2 separate machnas. He put Ruchel and her children, and maybe Bilhah's children, and one machna, and Laya and maybe Zilpah's children, another machna. All of a sudden he has them all together. And we see when they got to Esav, they were all together. What happened over here? Yaakov Avinu came to a conclusion. I cannot afford to sacrifice even one of my children. I can't have two machnas. If one will have, something will happen to one, something will happen to the other. No. I'm taking them all, and we're going to succeed. He took strength. It was the middle of the night. It was darkness. It was a dark time. It was a time of pachad and weakness. It was dark, but he says, no. He stood in the middle of the night, and he gathered all of his children, and he said, we're doing it. And what happened? He had got a sign. The Malach of Esav, the Samach Mem himself, came to fight with him, and he fought with him until the morning, but he didn't win. He was able to cause Yaakov difficulty. The famous Gid Hanusha, he put his arm around him, Chazal say, and he was able to bend the sinew of the hip, which is the Gid Hanusha, and that's why we're not allowed to eat the Gid Hanusha of any animal. But, and it's a third mitzvah in the Torah, by the way. This pasha has one mitzvah in it, and that's the mitzvah of not to eat the Gid Hanusha. Al kain lo yoichli b'nai Yisrael's Gid Hanusha. And every animal you have to take it out, and if it's even if it's cooked together with the meat, it could be a problem. So, but why did that happen? Because the Malach fought with him, and the Malach was able to cause a little bit of difficulty. Some of Harshim say, why was the Malach able to get him? Because he had that thought originally, I'll be willing to be mevater on some of my kids. Mevater on some of your kids? Some of Klal Yisrael to be mevater on? No. We keep all of them, every single one. And that's what the conclusion he came to, and that's why he won against the Malach. And that's why Esav was not able to have any koyach with him. So now the Malach wanted to leave. He said, Yaakov said, you can't leave. You have to bench me. First he asked him his name. He said, he said, you have to bench me. So he said, you want a bracha? I'll give you a bracha. What's your name? He said, Yaakov. He says, no. Your name is not Yaakov anymore. Your name is Yisrael. Yisrael means Surisu im Elohim v'manushem vatichal. You fought. Surisu doesn't really mean fought. Surisu means you lorded. You're higher, you're greater than Elohim, which means Maluchim. And Anushim people, you were successful. You had an Nisayon, and you withstood the Nisayon. You realized what your job is. Your job is to take care of all of your children. Your job is to be strong, and you were strong. You're Yisrael. Yaakov is the Shorish's word is Eikev. Eikev means the heel. The heel is the lowest part of the body. Yisrael is ois yisli roish. I have a head, on the top. By the Nuchash, when there was the fight, when there was the klula of the Nuchash between the Nuchash and Chava, it says, Hi yeshevchu roish v'at tishefeni ukayv. The person will have a head, and then he'll win against the snake. The snake tries to bite the heel. That's what happened over here. Esav was like the snake. The Samach Mem was like the snake. And he tried to fight him. So then Yaakov said, tell me your name. He says, why are you asking me for my name? He wouldn't tell him his name. Why wouldn't he tell him his name? A malach doesn't have a name. A malach is just the shlichus of the situation. Whatever the situation that the Eibishter wants to put him in, that's his job. The Samach Mem also has a job. The Samach Mem is not a bad guy. His job is to try to entice us to do sin. But he doesn't have a name. He doesn't have his own. A name means my own existence. He doesn't have his own existence. He's only a shlichus of the Eibishter. He says, I don't have a name. Nothing to ask for my name. And he benched him over there. We got up to Shlishi, Be'ezus Hashem.